Morning to you. I hope your Friday is starting or going exceptionally well. Now, this week I've been talking a little bit about self with others and about 360-degree coaching, which is based in self with others. 360-degree coaching means not approaching a coaching client or organization from a single perspective, but trying to get a in around view of what's going on. And as a structure to help with this, like all structures, it's flexible, but as a structure to help with this, I talk about there being three perspectives or three domains that I work in. The first I talked about a few days ago is inner work. What does the client need to do in terms of improving, liberating, de-stressing their inner life? Second domain I talk about is connection with, exploring the quality and focus of interconnected with. And connection with is not only external, connection with the outside world, it's internal, connection with the elements of ourselves. I talked about that yesterday, I think. And today, I want to just talk briefly about the third domain, which is the domain of systems thinking, emergence. Systems theory is an approach to scientific inquiry and philosophical inquiry that emerged end of the 19th century, but really began to take off in the middle of the 20th century. And it looks at the interconnection between things. Now, if you know anything at all about my work, you know that interconnection is at the heart of it. What Self with Others is about is developing the interconnected self. And systems theory is about the interconnections between things. Put really simply, it says, among many things, it says that outputs emerge from a system which cannot be mapped onto the inputs. What does that mean? Well, a classic example is ants follow strong pheromone trails. They sniff around and they follow this trail and that trail. And they're not trying to build an ant colony. No ant has an architectural plan for an ant colony. They're following pheromone trails, but from the system of thousands or millions of ants following their trails, what emerges is an ant colony. Now, this is useful for us when we begin to look at a situation where there's a problem or a dissatisfaction or something's not quite happening. Because it's very easy to say, where's the problem? What are you doing or what is someone else doing which is causing the problem? Managers in industry have an appalling habit of, if things aren't going quite as they want, they fire people and hire people and reorganize, the communications networks or the knowledge management system or something. Maybe it's not there. Maybe the problem is emerging from the context in which things are happening. If you are in an organization and you have a difficult relationship with someone you're managing or with someone who's managing you, it might be something that's your problem. It might be something that's the other person's problem. It might be because when you get together, you're not really connecting. You're not really listening to each other and being present. It might, though, also be a systemic problem. Perhaps there are evident or hidden power structures at work. Perhaps there are unfortunate contexts which things are happening in. Maybe the person you're talking to really struggles with an office environment, and when you go and tell them that they're not working well enough in an office environment, perhaps it just exacerbates the problem. Perhaps changing the system, the structure, might actually alter the outcome, even if you still do the same thing and the other person still does the same thing. The same is true for our internal work. Sometimes you get into the habit of always ruminating on, unhealthily thinking through the same thoughts in the same place. Maybe stop. Maybe say, if I have to think about those things, maybe I'm going to think about them in a different context. I'm going to find time to go and find a bench under a tree, sit there and think about them there. Or perhaps you find you are criticizing yourself for an insecurity or a fear. Maybe you can change the power relationship, and instead of telling that fear and insecurity what it damn well ought to be doing and to disappear, perhaps you could say, tell me what you're really afraid of. Change the power dynamic, change the relationship, change the place that you are having the conversation. The reason it matters is that sometimes you tinker with the parts of a system trying to make it work better while ignoring the overall interconnected structure of the system. Now, this all sounds very technical, but it's not really. Sometimes when you're coaching, you need to say to a client, why are you doing this? What does that mean? What else could you do? But sometimes it's useful to say to the client, or if you're coaching yourself, to say to yourself, is the whole context in which I'm working skewed away from the sort of outcome I want? Because if it is, you either find out how to skew the context into ways that support your outcomes, or you've got to find yourself a different context. So, 3 domains that we work in: the domain of inner work, the domain of connection with, and the domain of systemic emergence. Now, of course, they overlap, and tomorrow I'm going to look a little bit at how they overlap. But it's very useful as we go into coaching relationships to be able to just prize things apart a bit and help ourselves and our clients not get overwhelmed by the enormity of what they're trying to do, and just say, let's look at this in this way, and let's look at this in this way. And hey, let's not panic. So I have space for a couple more coaching clients at the moment. I had 2 finished this week. End of lovely journeys with them. But now I've got space for 2 more. If you'd like to talk about me coaching you, drop me a message. We'll have a chat. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.